The defense struck back on the offense in the second day of Cleveland practices. What all went down, including why'd the offense look that way? What to expect out of Derek Stingley this season? Because if it's any indication, it's going to be a fun one from him, and so much more. Your comments and questions as well. Get in live in the comment section as we go along. We'll get to your questions throughout. And of course, we want to hear from you after the fact. If you're not watching this live, in the comment section, still get to your comments there as well. Up front, before we talk football, thank you everybody on 8,000 subscribers. Got to that number early this morning, so greatly appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that comes through, watches the videos, likes the videos with the thumbs up button, subscribes to the channel. Appreciate all of you. Now, let's talk about the Houston Texans. The defense struck back in a big way today. I mean, they were fantastic. Some of it, the offense just wasn't executing, but I feel like, again, this was a defense day, and it's been a defense-heavy training camp for this Texans team. Now, the offense had some struggles that the offense will go through sometimes that defense can easily adjust to, which was the field was a little slippery, and it prevented a couple of offensive players from maximizing their skills and abilities, and the ball was a little slippery, so it hurt the quarterbacks a little bit as well. And that's what Bobby Slowick talked about after practice. Now, he wasn't using it as an excuse. Like, he didn't say that's why this or that's why that, okay? I want to make that very clear. He was just pointing to the defense adjusted to the elements. They were able to execute better, and that's part of the reason the offense struggled a little bit throughout the course of this practice. Now, there are still some good moments to talk about. Nico Collins had a really nice day, and his body control and ability to go up and get the football is still fantastic, but it was a defense-heavy day. And it started with that defensive line, which saw the return of Danielle Hunter. And Danielle Hunter was fantastic. It was one of the first few plays of practice, and he just rips right through the offensive line, right between, I think, Shaq Mason, Titus Howard, and is back in the backfield. And it's like a 6-7 yard loss for the running back because Danielle Hunter's back there and made a play. And then Foley Fadukasi and Mario Edwards are in there. They're making plays in the interior of the defensive line. Derek Barnett's having success over on the other side. So that defensive line really set the tone for the day. And it feels like most practices, if you see Fadukasi and Edwards flying in there early on, it's going to be a defense-heavy day. At least it's felt that way throughout the course of a lot of Texans training camp. But even the linebackers were making plays. Obviously, Azeez Al-Shire's in there, but Henry To'o made a play. Delshon Phillips closed on a play to stuff a running back for no gain. I think he hurt his hand a little bit. Big thud there, and his hand was kind of in the middle of that collision, and he came off the field. And then in the secondary, I mean, some really good coverage. C.J. Henderson was in on some stuff. He even blitzed from the cornerback spot. Same with Derek Stingley. He was fantastic today. We'll specifically highlight Stingley here in just a moment. Jimmy Ward closed in on some things from the safety spot, and there was a moment where Jimmy Ward got maybe a little too aggressive from the safety spot, and it was a pass that went a little high. Stefon Diggs went up for it. Ward arrived at roughly the same time, and they collided. And watching it in real time, I felt like Jimmy Ward didn't have to get to where Diggs was, but they collided in air. Diggs goes to the ground. He stays on the ground. Jimmy Ward pops back up. He's headed back to the huddle or the sideline or wherever it was. I think it was the sideline. I think second team defense came in after that. And Diggs was down for a minute. And initially, I thought he got hit in the nuts. I thought he got hit in the nether regions. But you know how when you get hit in the nether regions as a man, you could tell. There's ways that people react. That was not how Diggs was reacting. So maybe the wind got knocked out of him a little bit. I don't want to speculate that it was his ribs or anything like that, because he was up pretty quickly after he'd been down, went over the sideline, sat on the sideline, and then was back out there with the offense the next time first team offense was out there. But I would not be surprised to see Stefon Diggs maybe take a day or two. And hopefully this isn't something that's like Dalton Schultz last year, where Jimmy Ward's hit Dalton Schultz and Schultz missed 3-4 days worth of work and worth of practice. So hopefully it's nothing like that. And if Diggs does miss any time, it's going to be a short miss for Stefon Diggs. But just not a lot of conciseness or cohesiveness from the offense, and certainly no level of consistency that you can talk about either from the offense. I mean, guys were missing high on some of the passes. Some of the stuff just floated a little bit. Stroud threw a couple of interceptions. Davis Mills threw an interception, though. It was a pretty decent ball. The ball was up in the air. Mechie went up to get it, and then Kalen Bullock kind of read it, closed on it, and got there at the same time and ripped the ball away from Mechie. And Bullock maybe would have had a pick six. At the very least, it would have been a really nice return that you would have liked if you were rooting for the defense in that moment. But it was just, look, I could see where Bobby Slowick talked about, hey, the footballs were slippery. The offensive line couldn't get their footing. They were rotating in quite a few offensive linemen because Kenyon Green left practice and Titus Howard left practice. And so, the offensive line cohesiveness wasn't there. Just not overall a great day from the offense, which is okay. They had a good day yesterday. Defense bounces back. That's what you kind of want from your team day in, day out is, when the other side has a good day, let's see what they do with the bounce back. Derek Stingley's double up today, and 2 fantastic interceptions. I'm going to start with the second one first, if you can follow me on this. It felt like the defense baited CJ Stroud into this. They didn't rush a lot. I think they only rushed 3 guys. Everybody else was back in zone, and Stroud didn't have anything immediately available over the middle. And so he went to the right side to Tank Dell, and Stingley just broke on it and was right there like Stroud was throwing him the pass. And so it was crazy how he did it. As soon as he knew he had the ball, as soon as he secured the ball, he went like this to Tank Dell and then just kind of kept going. And easy pick six. It was in the end of half drill, so there's about a minute on the clock, 1 timeout. I mean, the Texans, if that was the end of half, would have gone down in the half down 10 because of the pick six, or would have lost the football game if it was the end of the second half and they needed the 3 points and they needed the score. It was not a good play by any means for the offense. Obviously, Stingley read it perfectly. I'd be very interested to know, and D'Amico Ryans or Matt Burke would tell us, but it felt like they ran that play to get that result from the play. And ultimately, that's what they ended up getting was Derek Stingley with that pick six. Now, his first interception of the day, he was with Nico Collins all the way down the right side. Stroud tried to get it into Collins. Wasn't the best throw in the world, but it didn't matter if it was a pinpoint throw. Stingley just played it really well, plucked it up out of the air. That was 2 really good plays from Derek Stingley. And his season is going to help define what this defense is. If you can take away a half of the field for most of the day, because Derek Stingley is out there playing cornerback, that's going to go a long way into that pass rush eating the way that they need to eat for this defensive line. It's going to go a long way into protecting a guy like Kamari Lassiter, who's starting opposite Derek Stingley, or Jeff Okudah if he has to be out there, or anybody that's not Stingley over on the other side. His level of play is going to help elevate what the defense is capable of doing. If the defense it doesn't have Derek Stingley, then it opens up a lot for that back end stuff. But I mean, Stingley's just playing great football right now. He got beat up a little bit in one-on-ones. Robert Woods, I think, got him in the one-on-one portion of practice for a moment. But ultimately, Stingley has been in the team portions damn near unstoppable. Even if you're Nico Collins or Tank Dell or Stefon Diggs, I mean, Stingley has been very, very good, and he provides a really solid floor for this defense that they probably can't go below because he can take away so much, and he's primarily played on that right side of the quarterback. So when the quarterback's right side, I don't know if that's going to be the every week thing. I don't know if that's just where he's been lined up the most, but I mean, he can go in there and make plays. Saw him make a play on Dalton Schultz at one point in this practice as well. So it was a really, really good performance from Derek Stingley, which has kind of been the norm for him here in training camp, and hopefully will be the norm for him in 2024, because Stingley brings such a high floor to this defense, and then he opens up the potential top for this defense as well. It's just going to be a very fun watch to watch 24. He just got to stay healthy. If he is healthy, if Derek Stingley is healthy for 17 games, I fully believe he will be an All-Pro. And if he's healthy for 15 games, he may be an All-Pro too, so the second team. I very much believe Derek Stingley is going to be an All-Pro if he plays all the games this year. He's just got to play all the games. He's had 4 consecutive football seasons affected by injury, 2 in college and then 2 in the pros. If he plays a full season, the potential is near limitless with Derek Stingley. near limitless. I want to get to some of the comments. We'll get to your comments here throughout the course of the show. Still got to talk about Robert Woods and then the attendance for today and see if we should worry about any of those folks being gone. It's good to see you, Steven. Audio, appreciate you. Blake, good to see you. Vincent, appreciate you. STX Texan, thank you, thank you. Kyle, good to see you in here. B, what's up, man? He did not lay him out, okay? And they collided, and the brunt of the force was taken by Diggs. He didn't lay him out. How's Mechie looking after his Hall of Fame game performance? John Mechie had the interception ripped away from him by Kalen Bullock. He had a touchdown late in practice. So, Mechie's had a little bit of an up and down couple of practices here since the Hall of Fame game. Is Petrie in at nickel again? He played a little bit of nickel, and he spent a portion of team practice or individual groups with the nickel cornerback. So it was him and Miles Bryant, and the other name escapes me, but they spent some time there together and all together as nickel corners, working out in the individuals. So it will be intriguing to see where he ultimately lines up a lot, and if his position ever changes on the roster as well. Jim says, is Stoots going to partake in that high-grade kush tonight? Today is the first day recreational marijuana is legal in the state of Ohio. I am not partaking, but it is legal to sell it recreationally in Ohio. Gerald says, smash the like button, Cody, getting to 10K before the season starts. I would appreciate that. Up to 8K now. Appreciate that. And, we'll go through the big benchmarks. I'm not going to talk about 81 or 82 or 83. We'll go 9, we'll go 10, and then we'll go from there. So share, like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. It all helps. It all helps. Thank you so much. Why does Ward keep hitting our wide receivers? I mean, just he's a physical guy. It was a physical play. It's football. It's football. Is Ward going to get punished for this? He keeps hitting and injuring players. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it was a bang bang play. It was a bang bang play. So not too worried about like a long-term Ward thing. Cody, looks like you've lost some LBs. Thank you. You're very kind. I've lost a little bit. I don't know if it's enough to be noticeable, but I've got plenty more to lose. So, but thank you for the kind words, Bobby. I appreciate that. We'll get to some more of your comments here, but I want to talk about Robert Woods. I mean, he is not going away. He's not going away in this wide receiver battle, and the special teams usefulness of Robert Woods helps him. He can return and punt return and kick return, and you can trust him. I mean, it's not going to be anything dynamic or special or incredible from Robert Woods when he's in the return game, but he's not going to make a lot of mistakes in the return game as well. Has he ever taken one to the house? Probably not. But has he ever fumbling one on the kickoff? Probably not. They had a kickoff today. I believe it was Dameon Pierce. He went to go catch the kickoff. He dropped it, and it ruined the whole rep. It ruined the whole play. So trust is a big thing for them when it comes to special teams, and Robert Woods' special teams usefulness is a big deal to his candidacy to be here on this roster. And he went out there and had a couple of nice plays today. It just gets open in the middle of the field, in the middle of the field where, some guys are afraid to go because of the contact and things like that. Woods goes out there and gets open, and he did it again today. Had one play where, he tried to get in there and a catch, and one of the DBs was in there and knocked it away. But, I mean, Woods is not going away in this competition. Xavier Hutchinson had a nice play today, catch over the middle and run. John Mechie had the touchdown late in practice after, having the interception earlier in practice, kind of ripped away from him. So it's still very much like it's those three guys and Ben Skoranek for the final two spots. So it's Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, and Ben Skoranek for those four guys, and there's two spots after Noah Brown and the big three. And Woods is not going away. He's going to be a factor. And if he plays well, say, in training camp and then maybe in some preseason games, and the Texans feel more comfortable with some of the other guys, that's a type of guy that Nick Caserio could get on the phone and convince another GM, hey, you need a veteran like Robert Woods in your locker room. Look what he did for our guys. Look how important it is. I mean, maybe the Commanders could use a guy like Robert Woods. Hey, young quarterback. Impart some knowledge on the young guy. Just played with a young guy last year in CJ Stroud. He looked really good. So, but Woods is a guy that he's the only guy that's got some sort of late round pick for him because he's a veteran, been around the block. He's got a proven track record. You're not getting anything for Skoranek or Xavier Hutchinson or John Mechie if those guys leave. If those guys leave the team, and you can't trade them for anything of note. So you might get a late round pick for Woods. If you decide you don't want to keep him, like, you can very well decide that you want to keep Robert Woods if you're the Texans. So that is where it is. And look, he's not going away. He's not going away, and he's going to fight till the end, and he's not going quietly, and neither is Hutchinson or neither is Ben Skoranek or John Mechie. Like, those guys are all just battling it out in that wide receiver 4-5 spot continues to be a hotly contested spot. And it's an important conversation to have because Nico Collins has an injury history. Tank Dell got hurt last year, and eventually Stefon Diggs isn't going to be an Iron Man. So that's something to factor in and think about as well. And look, hopefully Collins and Dell and Diggs and Noah Brown are all healthy this year, and you don't have to worry about who the 4-5 or the 5-6 guy is. That'd be nice. Okay, attendance, and do we worry about these guys missing? I'll tell you who's not here or did not practice today, and then we can discuss quickly if you should worry about them. The usual three that haven't been going: Laramie Tunsil, Joe Mixon, Christian Harris. I'm not worried about any of them. I would believe two of those three, maybe even all three, are back next week. And if not, then shortly after next week. So I'm not super worried about Tunsil, Joe Mixon, or Christian Harris. Will Anderson did not practice. He watched practice yesterday. I did not see him out there today, but Will Anderson did not practice today. Slightly worried about him, but I'd rather be overly cautious with Will Anderson than rush him back out there. He doesn't need the reps. He'd be ready to go yesterday if the regular season started, much less a little bit of the reps. Kamari Lassiter, Jeff Okudah, and Brevin Jordan, and Desmond King all missed for back-to-back days. So Lassiter missing and Okudah missing, that means a little bit more CJ Henderson. He had an okay day, blitzed off the edge, and would have, I think, sawed Davis Mills in half if it was a live rep. So that would have been an intriguing one to watch if that had been a live football situation. And then he was in some decent coverage spots as well throughout the course of the day. So with Lassiter and Okudah down, a little bit more Henderson gives him an opportunity. Guys like Troy Pride and D'Angelo Ross, they get opportunities as well when Lassiter and Okudah are down. With Brevin Jordan down, it just means more Cade Stover. Tegan Quintiriano also did not practice, still dealing with whatever caused him to leave the Hall of Fame game. I believe it's calf is what KPRC reported. So no Brevin Jordan and no Tegan Quintiriano. So that leaves him with three tight ends through most of practice. That's Schultz, Stover, and Dalton Keene until one of those two guys returns to the tight end position. And then with Desmond King out, you get a lot more Jalen Petrie there at the slot cornerback spot. So a lot more of Petrie in that slot spot when he's there. I'm not worried about King. And then Tim Settle to Nico Autry not there on the defensive line. Not worried about Autry. He's got, a couple months into the season, a couple months from now before and through the start of the season before he needs to ramp up. Settle has been missing for a few practices in a row now. I'm still not sure there. Hotly contested defensive tackle conversation behind Fadukasi and Edwards. So he would probably need to get in there and get going. And then no Charlie Heck at practice either. And leaving practice, Titus Howard and Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green looks like he's got a little bit of a stomach issue that he was dealing with. And then Titus Howard left practice. He walked off the field, blue tent, came out of the blue tent, took his tape off of his hands, and then left the practice area on a cart. Okay? So he was not carted off the practice field. He did not leave the practice field on a cart. He left the field on his own power and then left the practice area on a cart. I know Titus Howard has been, pretty clear about what he did with the field. He left the field. I'm not super worried about Howard. He looked like he was fine. I got to speculate on what it was, but he was walking okay, and there wasn't any sort of rush to get him off the field like there was some major injury or anything like that. So not super worried from that standpoint. I'm going to turn on a light real quick, so I'll be right back. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. I see all of you. Don't go anywhere. All of a sudden, the sun set in Cleveland, and I started not being able to see anything in here in this area that I'm broadcasting from. So, look, some of you left. You guys are going to miss out. You guys are going to miss out. All right, let's get to your comments and questions, joys and concerns. And super chats. Wow. Super chats go to the front of the line. Jesse, man, thank you so much. Wish I'd seen this a second ago. I appreciate that. That is very kind. It's very generous. Just wanted to say keep up the good work, Cody. Go Texans. Jesse, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. The super chats are very helpful to the support of this channel and being able to come to Cleveland to cover this team in person and bring you guys the latest and greatest on this Texans team. So I appreciate that, Jesse. That's very kind of you. And thank you so much for the super chat. That is very generous and very nice and great support to the channel. Thank you so much, Jesse. Good stuff. Thank you for the kind words as well. Thank you. Fantastic stuff from Jesse. Okay, let's fly through some of these. Corey Matthias. Hey, Stoots, any top 3 non-wide receivers show out? Skoranek had a nice catch. Hutch had a nice catch. Woods, good day. Noah Brown not practicing. So, kind of your usual suspects. What do you think about Simmons? Do you think adding Simmons would hurt Petry's development? This team seems to be really want to get him out there, and Murray, Bullock look like good rational pieces. Simmons doesn't hurt Petry because that means Petry's on the field as the nickel guy a lot more, and it means he's on the field as the nickel guy a lot more, and gives him an opportunity to showcase what he can do there. So, and does it keep him off the field for some safety reps? Yeah, absolutely. But it also puts him on the field for some nickel stuff where maybe he's going to end up playing a little bit better. So that'd be a big, might be a positive. I do not believe they're going to sign Simmons. I don't get the feel that they need him. Would you want a guy like Simmons? Sure. They've got 9 training camp practices and 3 preseason games left. So, is he going to get up to speed? He's not a bench player. He's going to start. He's going to play a lot. So, can they get him up to speed fast enough? And do they feel like they need him? Need is a weird word. Do they feel like they need him? If they needed him, they would have gotten him already, is my thought process on that. So, I don't believe that I don't believe Simmons is coming, but I'd be happy to be wrong. Like, if it was me, I'd have signed Justin Simmons. I would have just signed Justin Simmons if it was me. So that's where I'm at on that conversation. I do want to quickly tell you about my friends at Draft Kits. DraftKits.co. DraftKits.co is where you can find the best draft kits in the industry. Take your fantasy draft in person to the next level with beautiful, customized, reusable year after year draft boards, and you're going to get 10% off with my code CODY24 when you go to DraftKits.co. It's DraftKits.co, and just look at some of the gorgeous stuff they got going on here, from the custom draft boards to just the draft kits. That's your standard stock kit that you can reuse, that you don't need to reuse. You can just get it every year. You save a couple bucks doing that, but it's not specialized and unique. You want to put the loser's face on the draft board in an embarrassing photo. You can do that. You're the champ. You want to be the background for the draft board. You can do that as well. And you're going to get 10% off your order when you use my code Cody24 at draftkits.co. DraftKits, KITS.co. Reusable draft boards year after year. They come with the grommets on them, so they're easy to put up on the wall. I got to show you the stickers. The labels, I guess, is the official way to say it. The labels that come with these draft boards, they're big, beautiful, 2 inches by 4 inches, reusable labels, so when your drunk friend sticks it in the wrong place, you can fix it. And that's what makes the draft boards reusable year over year over years, because the labels come off nice and easy. They're going to have the player's picture on there, all the information that you would need. Draftkits.co, draftkits.co, promo code CODY24 for 10% off. Plan ahead and make your draft the best that it can be with my friends at draftkits.co. Fire away on those questions. We'll get to as many as we can here. Got a little meeting that I'm going to run to here in a few minutes, and we will get through as many as I can before that. If Woods plays well, can we get any trade value? Yeah, he's probably the one that has the most trade value of all of them. Mechie's probably one of those guys who has to so practices but turns the switch in the game. I mean, he's going to have opportunities here in the next few preseason games. So let's see what he's got here. Killer X Scott, the Stoots man. Where would you say our biggest strength and biggest weakness is on the team? Strength is the front seven. They're nasty on the front seven right now. From a weakness standpoint, a little bit of depth on the offensive line and probably not as experienced at cornerback as they would want, but you can fix that by playing guys. And then depth at running back's not very good right now. Baby Tyson says, it's crazy how your videos pop up for me, but I wasn't even subscribed. I love my Texans. Well, now you are. I appreciate it, Baby Tyson. When do we stop babying Mechie stories inspiring we trying to win games? It's probably this year. They stop. I mean, I don't know if they're babying him, but it's probably this year if he doesn't make the team. How much tighter has Sting's coverage become in the training camp? I mean, he's been nasty in training camp. I mean, very rarely are guys getting wins on him. And when it is, it's probably like Diggs or Collins or Dell that's getting him. What are the possibility of getting another safety? I'd say low right now. There are 5 guys that they have are healthy and haven't given them a reason to give up on them. Like if Murray and Stewart were out there and they sucked, it'd be one thing. But like Murray's had a nice camp. Stewart's had a really good camp. To me, Kalen Bullock's a rookie. You want him on the team. So, I'm not thinking that they feel like they have to have another safety. How has Kenyon Green been looking lately? I mean, it's a little rough start to today's practice. I think he's a little under the weather right now, so I don't want to judge him too much on that. But coming out of the Hall of Fame game, I mean, he looks good in the Hall of Fame game. Kyle Brinkmeyer asks, is re-signing Titus Howard going to be one of the Caserio's worst decisions? If Howard doesn't play well this year, it's going to be up there. It's going to be pretty high on the list there. Woods would free up more cap for getting in Justin Simmons. I mean, they don't need the money. They got the money if they want to go get Justin Simmons right now. The more I think about Jimmy Ward's injury history, the more I think Justin Simmons would make sense. Do you think we would be good without Jimmy Ward? Yeah, they'd be a step down without Jimmy Ward. So it stands to reason that you want a good backup or a good other safety. But, if Ward's healthy and Simmons is healthy, they're going to be on the field at the same time. So who's getting knocked back down? Is it Petrie? I mean, he plays nickel. So, Murray or Bullock or Stewart, one of those guys loses their job. Like, again, I would assign Justin Simmons and planned for him to be in the safety room. The Texans, seemingly do not feel the same way. Do you think they could keep Mechie on the practice squad? Sure. Yeah, I could see them keep Mechie on the practice squad. I also could see another team, snagging him, thinking that he's got untapped potential that they want to get into as well. Woods over Beck. I mean, different conversation. They're going to keep a fullback, so it's either Beck or Hairston. And I'd go Beck. So I don't think it's fullback versus wide receiver 6 or 7. I think it's fullback versus fullback, and then the wideouts have a conversation. It's getting real nasty. The weather out there and outside it is like dark outside. Is it the apocalypse and I don't know about it? Hope not. Is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back? Yes, talking about the Texans. Simmons would bring a lot of experience to that secondary and give Bullock 2 years to put weight on and develop. Yeah, I mean, look, the arguments for Simmons make sense. I just feel like the arguments against him are basically the way the team has acted to this point. I can't imagine our current safeties being able to keep up with the speed of Kansas City. Well, that's why you get the pass rush that you do. You go out there and you beat them up with the pass rush, and then they don't have time to throw the ball. How shocked would you be if we traded Diggs for Ayuk somehow? That makes no sense and would not happen. I'd be flabbergasted. What happened to Howard? Just got here. He left practice early. Someone rising in depth because showing growth and getting better. Mechie has not. Dude needs confidence and fire under him. Glad he's better from cancer, but if you're not better, next man up. Yeah, look, even Nick Caserio said, and I'm paraphrasing here, at some point he's got to be a football player. So at some point he's got to be, showcasing what they can do. And if there were no other options, then I would just say keep Mechie on potential. But there's guys with potential. And there's guys that can help you right away in a variety of ways. Jay says hit the like button. Thank you. Hit the like button. Justin Simmons will be firing H-Town. Yeah, if they get him. Again, Jesse, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Ayuk is not good. That's wild that he's very good. Jay Lepselt, they're catching the show live from Israel. Jay, appreciate you checking in from Israel. Thank you. Okay, you guys are arguing about Ayuk. We should trade Titus Howard. The guy's always injured. It would be cost prohibitive to trade him. They'd lose money, quite a bit of money doing that. So I don't think Titus would tweet the way that he did if he was worried. Exactly. Titus Howard saying, I thought I walked off the practice field on Twitter. I mean, that was, he kind of basically laid it out like he's not banged up as bad as people think they are. Good to see you, Charles. You guys, that's fine. Have y'all's Ayuk Dell conversation. Just going to scroll past it. JJ, AK already. Let's keep this going. Keep the channel growing. Thank you, JJ. I'm nothing without you guys, so I appreciate y'all checking in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you saying the kind words, and appreciate you being a subscriber and helping us get to 8K. I mean, need is not the way I would phrase Justin Simmons. Again, the 5 safeties that they have right now that I believe would make the roster, Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie, Eric Murray and MJ Stewart and Kalen Bullock, they are healthy. None of them have given a reason for me to believe that they are not going to be able to play this year for the Texans. Obviously, the injury history for Jimmy Ward is not great. But look, again, I would sign Simmons, and I would have signed him in April if I was doing it. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how they're thinking about things. And look, if they decide that they want Justin Simmons, they've got the financial capital to go out there and sign him. And it takes 2 to tango. Simmons has to want what the Texans have to offer. I don't imagine that he would dislike the Texans situation. But I feel very strongly that if they wanted Justin Simmons, he would already be on this team. If we get Justin Simmons, it'd be a great deep, and Petrie, the contact safety, will go crazy. Oh, he'd be the great center field safety. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Phrasing on that one, Arias, probably. It's good. It's good phrasing moment. That's not how you think about things. You don't sign a guy because you think he's going to go to a division rival. That's not how you approach things. That's not how you're supposed to think about things. So I'm not worried about that approach or that conversation. Jay asks, how do you feel about the coaching staff going into season 2? Will they be even better at upping their bag of tricks versus the competition? I feel really good about this coaching staff. They kept a lot of the key guys. They changed some things around, new faces in a couple of new places, linebacker, defensive line that I know they're excited about. And so I like this coaching staff a lot. D'Amico Ryans, if he's got his safeties, maybe he's going to be able to do a little bit more with his defense, play some more chess with the defense. And then Bobby Slowick, I'm really excited to see how he can get in there deeper with what CJ Stroud can put together, more offensive weapons than he had. And if the rushing attack is better, they could be really good on offense. One of the worst rushing attacks in football last year. If they're average on the ground, they'll be really good on offense. Who's looking better, Nico or Diggs? Diggs has, yeah, I would say Diggs. Slight, but Diggs. Slight, but Diggs. Miles in that cognac says, go get Simmons, let Petrie play the nickel, use him as a QB spy blitzer and underneath plays to go to the running back and tight end. I mean, it's a good it's a good thought. I mean, I certainly understand the conversation for Simmons. What up, Stoots? Have you been more excited for a Texans season in your life? I have not. Maybe the first one. But I knew they weren't going to be a very good football team as the first one, but this is a pretty exciting one. This will have the most juice going into any season. Are you still in Ohio or have you made it back to the H? Still in Cleveland. It was here yesterday for the practice today, practice tomorrow, and then back to Houston tomorrow evening after practice. So we need that weather over here right now. Yeah, I don't even know what the weather is in Houston. And I know it's apocalyptic outside in Cleveland. Arian going fantasy pick Nico or Diggs. I say Nico. I don't think you go wrong with either of them. They're going roughly in the same spot. So I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Who's going to wear the green dot on defense? So who calls the plays for the defense? Who gets to hear D'Amico in his headset? Yeah, that'll be Azeez Al-Shire. Yeah, Azeez Al-Shire, the linebacker. Are there any current positions you think we're likely to see a free agent signing? No, but I could see some depth on the offensive line if a guy that they like gets cut somewhere else. I could see maybe a running back if a guy they really like gets cut somewhere else. And then maybe a deep on the depth chart corner if somebody that they like gets cut somewhere else. Remember, they added two guys from the Bills last year during cutdowns that were is Nick Broker and then a corner, Alex something. And those guys were on the initial roster, so they stay active around cutdown time. Nick shouldn't have given Howard that contract. Fant was way better. Well, he gave Howard the contract before Fant was even in the building. So that's the timelines on that don't match. I mean, would I rather George Fant be the right tackle this year for what he makes than Titus Howard for what he makes? Yeah, I'd rather be George Fant, but the timelines don't really match on that. Rich Boy Jay takes a second, hit the like button. He's right. It does go a long way. Appreciate you. It's a little thumbs up button. Hit it. Hit it. I'm back. I have no idea how long the internet's going to last. So am I here? Can people see me? It looks like it's working okay on my end. Is it working okay on your end? Hopefully not that many people left. I was hopefully only down for a few seconds. Am I back? Oh, no. Titus must have taken over the stream. It's broken. Yeah, it clicked out there for a second. I still have no idea if I'm back. Okay, Jesse says yay, so I must be back. Okay. All right. So a little hiccup there in the middle, but we back now. Okay. Where was I? What were we talking about? Fairbairn missing field goals give me flashbacks of Amendola. Well, Fairbairn missed a 58-yard field goal in the weather in Pittsburgh. I mean, in Canton. So I'm not worried about that one. He was perfect in his 2 field goal opportunities yesterday. So I'm not worried about Fairbairn. He looks as good as he's ever looked. Gilly just got here, and then I think I was out. Now I'm back. Just got here, Cody. What's the update on Titus? Thank you, guns up. Hey, a little Texas Tech fan there. Look, I don't think there's anything serious with Titus. I mean, he walked off the practice field, went in the blue tent, came out of the blue tent. He was done for the day, and then was carted away from the practice area, so that I have my facts straight on the situation for Titus. I don't think there's anything too serious. I don't know if he'll be back tomorrow or if he'll play Friday now, but I'm not super worried. He there was not some sort of rush, or he didn't look to be in a bunch of pain. Miles, not calling you. When things clicking for this offense, I honestly don't see how teams stop this offense. Yeah, they're going to roll over some teams with offensive talent. I mean, they're going to roll over people with some of the offensive talent. Jorge says, hit that like and sub button, y'all. Come on. Yeah. Thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If the Texans win the Super Bowl this year, will you shave your head bald? I mean, probably not, but I've already made the proclamation. The Texans win the Super Bowl, we'll do a 24-hour stream. So you guys can watch me go crazy for being up for a day. ABC, Noah Brown's the most overrated player on the team. LOL. Mechie can block and run deep crossers all season, just like Noah. I mean, he can't, and Noah Brown had I think 18.1 yards per reception last year. So, and Mechie didn't do that. And when Brown was gone, Mechie was healthy and didn't showcase any of that, what you're talking about. So that's not the case. All right, we're back. A couple more questions here. Will Sting be playing one side of the field or shadowing wide receivers? I think there would be a very rare occasion for him to shadow, but I would think playing one side of the field. Damon, good to see you. Who benefits from who more, Will Anderson Jr. or Hunter? I would tell you that Will Anderson Jr. benefits more from Hunter. It's a really good player to be playing across from. Why was Titus extended? I mean, they tried to get out in front of him being one of the more expensive players, and he still ended up really expensive. And last year he played left guard, not right tackle, and he's got to stay healthy. Can our punter kick field goals? I don't think so. I know he can do the kickoff if Kaimi can't do it, but I don't think so. Dare can. Yes, he can. Noah and X are most likely the 4 and 5. That'd be my 4-5 right now, with Skoranek being the 6th. How long do you think the starters play versus the Steelers? I would think two, maybe 3 series. Nothing too crazy. Does Nico look more explosive than last year, and how has Will and Hunter affected the pass protection? How dominant they look doing it? I mean, those tackles, it gives them trial by fire for sure. So it's not easy for Blake Fisher and Titus Howard going against those guys, but it gives them a good chance to put in a lot of work. And then Nico's, I mean, he looks every bit as good as last year. He's picked up where he left off, which is just another thing Bobby Slow talked about with Tank Dell, that he picked up where he left off from last year. So, arrow pointing up for those guys. Our punter can do anything. Yes, he can. Okay, with the iffy internet situation and 40-ish or so minutes under our belts here, going to hit you one more time, remind you about draft kits. DraftKits.co. Take your draft to the next level with DraftKits.co. The best draft boards in the game. Whether you want it for just this year or you want the reusable custom draft board for year after year after year, DraftKits.co has it all for you. And you're going to get 10% off with my code Cody24, CODY24. It's 10% off your entire order at draftkits.co. Check them out in the description down below. They got everything to take your fantasy draft to the next level. Akers with high praise think he has a shot. Yeah, he's got a shot. He's got a shot. He'd be the fourth running back, but he's got a shot. There's a chance. There's a chance. Okay. We end each and every live stream the same way. This is my hope for you. This is my charge for you as well. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. Thanks for hanging with me through the technical difficulties that were totally not my fault at all. It's the weather in Cleveland. So I appreciate you. And thank you for the support and the super chats. Jesse F., thank you for that. The likes, the subscribes, we're past 8,000. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day and appreciate you watching.